silence for any loved ones. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A moment of silence for any loved ones. Okay, thank you. Please be seated. Do we have any new folks here? Raise your hand and let us know what street you're from. Sir?
Francine Lane.
Francine Lane. Anybody else? Ma'am, what street?
Coon Road.
Where?
Coon.
Coon Road. Anybody else? Welcome.
Thank you.
Roll call of officers. Stan is here. Chris?
Right here.
Dina's having her knee operated on. Ed? Okay. Correspondence secretaries, nothing to report. If you're new here, make sure we get all your contact information up there, emails or cell phone for texting. Just a reminder, if a meeting is canceled, we try to get it on channel 2, 4, or 7. Generally, this happens during the winter months. We rarely ever cancel a meeting during the summer months, but just keep that in the back of your mind. If if there's a major power failure or something, I guess you wouldn't be able to watch your TV in that case. Huh? Oh well, forget about that idea. Tonight we have two guests. We have County Clerk Mickey Kearns, and we also have Paul at 7:30. SWAT?
7:30, 7:35.
7:30, 7:35. SWAT is going to be here, okay? I don't know what the presentation is going to be, but we want to make sure Mickey has enough time, so we're going to invite you up now. Is 20 minutes enough for you? 25 minutes? I know you're a politician. You may need twice that, but you're pretty good, though, I must admit, Mickey. You actually deal with facts when you talk.
Thank you so much. I have some handouts here for those who have questions on the Real ID. So I'm going to leave these here if you want to give these out.
Okay.
Really good information. This here is a handout. It has all of our different auto dealer locations, and it has a telephone number because we are encouraging, because of the Real ID, and I'll get into that, to make an appointment when you come to the DMV. It's so important. We're seeing unprecedented numbers, but I'm very proud of my staff and our team and what we've been able to do. So that's important. So I know some people say, I don't have access to the internet, I don't like to go on to do that. You can call a person Monday through Friday, 858-8864. And believe it or not, you get a live person. If you do have to leave a message at that time, we're really inundated with a lot of people. And I'll give you some of those facts and data, so those factoids. Sometimes you have to leave a message and we can get right back to you. The second thing is the Real ID. So I apologize. I didn't know if I was going to be able to make it tonight. My daughter went to the hospital. Just want to say everything's okay, everything's good. So Ed and I was communicating with my assistant today. So believe it or not, I have a 25-year-old and I have a 9-month-old. So there's a lot of faces out there saying, wow, how did that happen? You're going to have to figure that out for yourself. I'm going to talk about Real ID. So as you know, a long time ago, if you look at your license and you see it, you can pull it out. In order to fly after 9/11, you have to become, and the date is already passed, we call it the enforcement date, you have to be called Real ID compliant. So what does that mean, and what is all that about? So back when we were attacked, we understand 9/11, and they wanted the federal government, this is a federal law, this was passed by Congress, they wanted to toughen the laws up when it came to people flying domestically. So as of today, because the enforcement date is passed, if you pull out your driver's license and it doesn't say enhanced, it does not have a flag or a star, you are not Real ID compliant. However, before you get upset, if you have a passport, you'll be fine. So let's talk about this. And the reason why I gave you this information is this spells everything out really, really well, what you need, right? So the first thing is you have to gather all your information. So let's just pretend the enforcement date is passed. You're thinking about becoming Real ID compliant. You're thinking about getting an enhanced. So the confusion on the messaging, this was not my fault, but the confusion on the messaging is Real ID compliant. In New York State, you can get 3 types of licenses. You can get a standard driver's license. That's the license that you can get. You can still get that. If you've had a standard driver's license, you're never going to go to Canada, or you have a passport or a Nexus card. But if you're not going to fly, you don't think you're going to go anywhere or travel domestically, standard driver's license is fine. So you come in to the Auto Bureau and you want to renew that, that's good. But you still want to have an appointment. The second is a Real ID, and the reason why they came up with the Real ID, I think they should have just had one, but they had it because, as you know, we have many different professionals that are here. We'll utilize someone who is here, who's a professional, a doctor who's working at Roswell, and they're not a United States citizen. They could be here legally, but they're not a United States citizen. They can get a Real ID. And then the enhanced, which is the highest you can get, is only for United States citizens. So let's talk about that. That's what you're interested in. Just to give you some numbers, we compared between January and April of 2024 and January and April, and we're just finishing up the May numbers. I just talked to my CFO before I left the office, before I came here. But just looking at those numbers, which are certain numbers between January, February, March, and April, we have done more transactions, over 60,000 more transactions in those 4 months. Just think about that. 60,000 more transactions, more than we did in 2024. So if you're bringing in 60,000 more people into this many locations, do you think there's going to be a line? Yes. And the great thing about the appointment is if you have an appointment, we have 2 separate lines. We have an appointment line, just like if you go to Disney or the airport, and we get you in, and you will get in and out much, much quicker, pretty quickly, even on a renewal. Now, the problem with the Real ID, and it's not a bad thing, it's just, as you can see, it's more complex. It's a longer transaction. Just by nature, we have got some excellent, excellent workers. It's about a half hour. Just because remember, even though you're there, they have to send that paperwork to New York State. We have to get a verification back before we can say, okay, you're all ready to go. So let's talk about those documents. Original birth certificate. It cannot be a birth certificate that you got at a hospital or a church birth certificate. You know, those real cute ones where they have the little baby foot right on the birth certificate, maybe from the local Catholic hospital. That does not comply. The birth certificate has to be from a government agency. So we'll just use the example, even though you live in Cheektowaga today, you were born in Buffalo, you would have to go, if you needed your birth certificate, you'd have to go to City Hall on the 14th floor and get that certified birth certificate. So it's where you were born is your birth certificate. There's another trick to it too that we've seen, and I'm so glad this meeting is being taped tonight because I want to get this messaging out there. And it's very important. It has to go above and beyond. When you look at your birth certificate, at any point in time you've had a name change, and just say you were married and you did change your name, you have to show that name change. You have to show that in order to get the enhanced driver's license. So you'd have to show your merit certificate. So once again, you'd have to get a copy. You're married in Cheektowaga, you would go to the town clerk in Cheektowaga and get that merit certificate. Those are some tricky ones right there. The third thing, which sort of gets people a little confused, is Social Security card. Has to have that original Social Security card. Now, we could take your 1098 and you look at your taxes, and in many instances, it only has the last 4 numbers. You need something that has all of the numbers from the Social Security card. So I know you want to get a copy of that. That takes 2 weeks. Just like what it says on here, proof of lawful status in the United States, 2 proofs of New York State residency, which are pretty simple. You could have a bank statement, you could have a utility bill. With all that, remember, these have to be original documents. You can come to the DMV, you make your appointment, you can come, and now we get going, right? Now we get going and we get this enhanced driver's license. I encourage people to get it. People say, why do you do that, even if I have a passport? The reason why I do encourage people is you shouldn't be carrying your passport around for fraudulent purposes. You don't want to leave that in your car. We all know that even though we feel as though our cars are safe, there is a lot of crime. You can attest to that. And keeping important documents in your car is not good, right? Normally, your license is on you, and you may want to go to Niagara Falls, you may want to go up to Canada to play bingo. I love Niagara on the lake. I haven't been up to Canada in a while. I want to go up to Niagara on the lake. I like to go bike riding. I really do enjoy it. So those are things that you want to know. In addition to that, we are right now going through a software conversion at the Erie County Clerk's Office. I'm very proud of that. The analogy I utilize is just think if you had the same phone from 20 years ago. Now, if you do, that's great. And if it fits your needs, I don't want to see any scowls looking at me. You don't have to upgrade. I'm not looking to work for T-Mobile or Verizon. But if it works for you, great. We need to do and have a better software system. We found some bugs in the system, and we want to have highly accurate records, right? You hear about that, so those are all good things. So with that, I know I'm on a tight schedule, but what I want to do is I thought it would be more important to answer your questions and your concerns about maybe the Real ID. I can come back again, and like I said, I apologize. I will make myself where I can have an hour and a half to really go and get into some things happening at the office. We've got a lot of good things happening. But I know Real ID is important and people are concerned about it, so I'm going to leave some time to talk about that. So are there any questions? Yes. We'll just go around.
So that people know, what's the average cost of getting a enhanced driver's license?
Yeah, it's an additional $35 more on top of the $65. So you're looking at a little bit more money. If you get the Real ID is free, okay? And there's technical stuff because people say, well, I've already renewed my license. Now I didn't know about the Real ID. I got the standard. Now I want to upgrade. So you can pay for that upgrade. But, we can work with you on that, but it is under $100. I know that's a lot of money, and once again, I know that's a lot of money. But if you already have a passport and you are fine with that, then no, this is no pressure. This is just giving information out. Yes?
Maybe the birth certificate. I had my original birth certificate. I was very proud of it. And I went in and they laughed at me. I was obviously born a little bit before the time when they put the seal on the birth certificate.
Right.
So as a result, I still had to go down to City Hall and purchase a birth certificate with the embossed seal on it.
We're really strict, and it's not that we want you to make an extra trip. That approval does go to New York State, and we don't want you you to get approved and come back and say, geez, I spent all that money.
I have no idea. Like I said, I thought it was.
And this is why I'm glad it's being videotaped and filmed, because if there's any parents on there, because remember, we're scanning that in and we're sending that to New York State. If they make the call to say nope, I think they could be a little bit more lenient. Especially on, as you said, some of the birth certificates that may not have the seal and dated. I don't have that authority. We're an agent of the state, but I do believe, like for example, an expired driver's license should be good for identification. It is for a passport, but it isn't for New York State. So I guess I'd have to go back to Albany to change some of those things. My wife probably doesn't want me to go there, but right now I enjoy being the clerk. But I'm sorry that happened to you.
Well, it was kind of comical because my husband lost his divorce, he had gotten a copy. So he was able to get everything he needed together, and he was taken care of, and I had to be turned away and go back. And but I was so proud of the fact that I had the original certificate.
We know you should frame that.
Yeah, just laughed at me.
Yes.
How long is the enhanced license good for?
It's the same as a regular driver's license, so you're good. It's just like a regular license, so you're pretty good. Yes.
How about a non-driver's license for someone who's?
That's actually an excellent, thank you for bringing that up. That's an excellent point. So we have many people who may not be driving anymore and want that. Yes, we do have what's called a non-driver ID. We really try to make sure that we help people out and give them that identification. But someone says, well, can I get an enhanced non-driver ID? Yes, you can. It's the same documentation. You would have to show the same standard of proof. And yes, we can get you a non-driver ID. So if someone wants to go to Canada or fly domestically, they can get that. But that's an excellent question. Thank you for bringing that up.
And if I have an enhanced flag on there, I don't have to bring nothing else, just to renew it?
Yes, I would bring that in and you'll be fine for renewal, correct.
Thank you.
You just answered my question, if I already have a enhanced license, you come in, and renew a date.
Well, you have to obviously fill out the paperwork. You can download that paperwork. But yes, on a renewal, many times you'll get something from New York State in the mail. You can just bring that in with you, and you should be good. But we'll work with you. Yes.
Yes, I have a question about the birth certificate. I went to City Hall to get a birth certificate, and when my sister was at my apartment, she went through my stuff and she took my birth certificate. Can I call them and have them mail it to me?
It depends on each clerk does it differently. I would reach out and do that. I'm just the Erie County clerk, but each town has specific clerks that handle that information. We don't handle birth certificates at the Erie County Clerk's office. So you'd have to ask that question to your clerk. They might, I don't know if they take phone calls. I know some of them have been really working hard, and I want to thank them for all their hard work. They've been open, some of them have opened up on Saturdays, especially before the enforcement date. So I think it's, you'd have to make that call or stop in. If you can't make it there, I would make that call. Yes?
Do other states have a real ID?
Yeah.
Okay. And if you have a passport, you'll be able to board a plane domestically or internationally?
There was a question of what would happen at the enforcement date, and TSA, I had a meeting with the local representative from TSA. One of the things that they're doing is they stated you could still get on a plane right now. It's sort of a period where they're giving people flexibility, but you may have to be pulled aside and asked additional questions. But if you have a passport, once again, that's a great document that you can utilize. We also do at the Erie County Clerk's Office, I'm pretty proud, we do new passports at 92 Franklin and also at our Southgate facility, and we help people. I'm very proud of it because we've received 2 awards with renewing passport identification. And you may not think it's an easy process, but having someone else look over your documents, if you want to go to, I encourage you to Southgate Plaza. We're open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. On Thursdays, we're open at 7 o'clock. No appointment. If you remember the old Bonton, we're in that building and adjacent to the Auto Bureau. And it's good. We received a national award from the State Department on our outreach services, and recently because many of our passports have such a high compliance coming from our facility, meaning that they can go through, there's not many mistakes. They're doing a really good job, my staff. So once again, passports are very important.
Just to be clear, you don't renew passports, you'll check the paperwork for the renewal of the passport.
Correct. So we accept, great point again, boy, a lot of good people here, they really know their stuff. So we accept the paperwork on behalf of the State Department. So we do that as a function, and then the final decision is correct, is done by the Department of State. But we have the paperwork there, and one of the things that we offer is a picture. We can take your picture for you. There's a $10 charge. But I think a lot of people, sometimes when they're renewing government documents, I always say it doesn't hurt to have someone just look it over, right? And just say, hey, look it. Because if there's anything wrong on the passport application, they will send it back to you. And then you have to start, especially if you're on a time crunch. I know today, during COVID, there was a little bit of a wait, but now today, they're really getting through these pretty quickly. But still, if you're on a time crunch and you want to get this done, you want to make sure that it's sent in and all the documents and the paperwork is done correctly. You may inadvertently, you might be in a hurry, you might have a rough day, you may miss signing somewhere, and that puts you back another couple weeks, and you want to take a cruise. So we want to make sure that that's done correctly. Yes?
What's the youngest you can be to get the non-driver's identification card?
You don't need it if you're anybody under 18 years old. So what I say, if you have children under 18, that just bring your birth certificate, and you'll be able to get that. You should be able to get on a plane with the birth certificate. That's what TSA has conveyed to us. 18 years old, you know, once again, we'll get the non-driver ID in it. And it's important because identification, as you know today, is very important.
Thank you.
It's okay. I have 3 minutes. Should I use them or not? I'll use them. How's that? Because I don't want to.
Go ahead.
As long
Go
as,
ahead. Where's yours?
and as long as we can do that. So once again, we're really busy. If you can make an appointment, that's great. The numbers are going to be coming in for May, and I feel as though that it's really, really high. I'm excited about what's going on in the clerk's office. We have a lot going on. I believe we've modernized every one of our auto bureaus. It may not seem like a big deal, but adding bathroom facilities to them was something that I wanted when I became clerk. And the other thing that we're really looking at is trying to provide additional services to make our facilities more accessible. Danny stores. Danny was a young man who was in a wheelchair, used to come visit me when I was an assembly member. And I was at the Southgate Plaza, and we didn't have doors that opened up. And unfortunately, Danny died, he passed, and I felt as though, talking to his mom, I wanted to make sure that our facilities were accessible for Danny's. So if you look, you can see we've got a plaque up for Danny. He really pushed and advocated for Danny's doors, which I think are so important. But we are a busy office. As I stated earlier, we're doing a software conversion. It may not sound too interesting, but really it's like the office is being you know, it's like we're starting from scratch again. Every single thing we're looking at, every single thing. And one of the things that we're hopeful for is to have more free access for the public. Right now, if you want a copy of your deed and you have to go online and you want to download that, there's a cost to that. What I'm looking to do is, we have some big companies out there, and I'm glad this is being taped once again. The Zillows of the world are making a lot of money off the Erie County Clerk's Office. That information that they get from our office, and they don't pay their fair share. They pay a little amount of money, they pay a couple $100. That's going to change hopefully with the approval of the legislature. And finally, as you know, I like to talk about vacant and abandoned properties. If you are behind on your taxes, and unfortunately I'm fighting and advocating that we have Erie County, believe this or not, Erie County, if you get behind on your taxes, there is no payment plan. No payment plan whatsoever. Once you go into foreclosure, then they'll put you in a payment plan, which I think is so punitive. The second thing that I'm asking the legislature to do is lower the interest rate. In New York State, the usury rate is 16%. If you that's the highest you can go. I don't even think the mafia goes that high. I think Erie County is doing a training course for them because Erie County is charging 18%. So you wonder why some of our friends and our neighbors, when they get behind on their taxes, they can't catch up. So two things I'm advocating for, because we want to keep people in their houses. I was just saying, my wife and I are looking to purchase a house, and there's not much inventory out there because interest rates are low, and people, where do they go if they sell their house? Yes, they may get more money, but where do they go? We got to lower that interest rate. You know, the next time you run into your Erie County legislator, ask, why are we charging 18%? Why? And the second thing is, why don't we have a payment plan for our friends and neighbors? I thought we were the city of good neighbors. We were the county of good neighbors. Why don't we have a payment plan? Why do people have to wait till they get so far behind, our senior citizens, on their taxes? We know the one thing that goes up is taxes, right? Hopefully, they don't always have to go up, but they're going up. Don't get fooled by, the fuzzy math. They're going up. But I'll tell you right now, those are two things I'm very passionate about. We gotta lower that 18% down, and we gotta help people out, our neighbors, so they can stay in their home, because where are they gonna go? They're gonna be homeless. And we don't want our neighbors to be homeless. So 18% has to come down. We're hopeful that, that can at least get lowered down. I don't think it should be, I think it should be, very, very low. And then the second thing is, something the legislature can do without the help of Albany to amend the Tax Act is start with a payment plan. Why can't we have a payment plan to help people when they know they're falling behind and they get help right away? Because you can't make monthly payments to Erie County. If you have a mortgage, it's great. It's in your mortgage, right? But if you don't have a mortgage, what happens? Those payments are due at that point and period of time. You can't pay monthly. And a lot of people can't budget, not because they're not good at math or they can't do it. It's just that they have a lot coming at them. And they may be, things are going up. So with that, that's my only thing that I'm going to get on my soapbox on tonight. But thank you for letting me come here tonight. And once again, I'd be happy to come again and talk more about the other things that are happening in the clerk's office. Yes?
I just have this one question about the birth certificate. Why do you have to go all the way to City Hall? Why can't you do it at Southgate, Plaza?
Because we don't have that record. We do have certain birth certificates from 1910, but I don't think you were born in 1910. We have them so I know that, and we don't have that information. We don't have the birth certificate there, so the town clerks are the ones that hold that information. It's a good point. Listen, I think that's something you would have to go and ask and say, hey, they may do it for you over the phone, but I don't have that authority to tell them to do that for you. So I'm telling you, we have really good clerks. They're really good people. They work really hard, and they've been very helpful during this period of time. But thank you. These are all very, very good questions.
Is SWAT here yet?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm getting the hook. Thank you so much.
Real quick, I want to give you a story about the Auto Bureau. I do all my transactions over the internet, okay? But in the last 2 months, I had to visit the Auto Bureau 3 times. They were outdated registrations, whatnot. 2 were complicated transactions. 1 was a very simple one. So the first time I went to the Auto Bureau at Dick and George Urban, 9:15, the line was already out the door. So remembering all the horror stories of the prior clerks, I planned on spending the next 2.5 hours there. I was done in half an hour. I went the second time, same thing. Line was out the door, I was done in half an hour. The third time I made a reservation, I was done in 10 minutes. So it's amazing how efficient our clerk's office has become. So I want to thank you. So I can attest to Mickey's statement. The clerks behind the counters were very helpful, friendly. So you're doing a good job, and this isn't a political plug. This has to do with efficiency. So he's doing a super job. But make a reservation. You walk past that whole line, and you're going to be there 10 minutes and out the door, because you go from the main desk, then you go to the payment section, and you're out. So they've really improved the process. So thank you.
I got yelled at one time because a woman came in and she had a very thick book, and she made an appointment, and her husband dropped her off, and she told her husband she was going to be gone for 2 hours, and we got her in or out in 15 minutes. And she yelled at me and said, I told my husband I was going to be here for 2 hours, and I was going to read this book. And I said, well, she goes, and I didn't want to see my husband for another hour and 45 minutes. Well, there's nothing well, here, you can still sit here. If your husband,
sit down.
If you want to sit down, I can't help it. You don't want to see your husband for the next hour and 45 minutes. It's not my fault. So have a good night. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Oh, where are we going now? What's next?
Real quick, I've got a couple of things I want to tell you. Then we're going to go outside and meet Officer Arnold, the SWAT man. I've got a bunch of these signs to give out. They come from, they're funded by the National Highway Safety Administration with a grant from the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee and the New York State Association of Traffic Safety Boards. If you want any of these signs, I got a bunch of signs out in the car. You're welcome to them. I also got these papers here, Getting to Know Your Neighbors. Came up to us a couple months ago at a neighborhood watch meeting, and somebody asked, do we have a way of having neighbors get to know each other who don't have cell phones? And I thought back, we used to give these out years ago, so I went and dug them out. If you want this, just to get to know your neighbors, it puts you in the middle. The neighbors across the street behind you and to the sides of you. If there's ever an emergency and it's on your fridge, you'll at least be able to contact your neighbors. Once again, the Erie County Handle with Care Registry, we're talking about this again. We're giving these out to everybody who wants them. Remember, it's a voluntary program. Nobody's forced to put any information on there about somebody. You can read that. I've got the meetings for the schedule for all the meetings. And if you live in Buffalo and you just happen to be visiting us tonight, you can go down to the end of the hall and vote in the primary if you want. They're down there till 9 o'clock. And I'd like to thank Mickey, but he's out in the hallway. And that's it. If you haven't signed in, please sign in. We need to have an accurate number of people who are here. So make sure you sign in before you leave. We can take this outside to the.
We're going to do the same.
How you doing? My name is Matt Arnold. I'm a police officer with the town of Cheektowaga. A little about me. I've been on for 19 years as a patrolman, about 7 years on the SWAT team. This is one of our SWAT trucks. We have 3 vehicles for the SWAT team. We have this. We have an MRAP rescue vehicle, which is an armored vehicle. And then we have a Humvee that our snipers use going to and from scenes. Okay? In a minute, if you want, everyone will be allowed to come on the truck. You can look and touch it whatever you want. Just ask first because it is expensive and heavy. Okay? If you don't want to, you don't have to. You can just look around and look. This is not armored. This is just a transport vehicle. We have, I believe it's 17 or 18 SWAT members. We have a commander, team leaders, sniper team, and then entry. Right? This is the basic vest that we wear. These are brand new. Right? Each vest has a front and back hard armor, which will stop a .308 rifle, hopefully.
How much does that weigh, Matt?
This weighs 12 pounds.
That's it?
I don't know. You can tell me, Paul.
No, mine's way lighter. But it's still.
And this is the helmets that we are issued that we wear.
How often do you go out?
So, the snipers train twice a month. We train once a month. And then a few times a year, the whole team gets together and we train twice a month. That also then being said, if we have a barricade or hostage situation, we get activated, or if we have a warrant that needs to be served, we may be activated for that as well. And that varies from year to year depending on how much work needs to be done. Like I said, there's about 18 people. I believe 5 are snipers. So when we have a call out like that, they do their own thing and the entry sets up the perimeter and does our thing. Like I said, the MRAP is just, it's an armored vehicle that's just for the transport. All the equipment we have is on this truck. We have everything from our, somebody asked about gas. So everything here is unloaded, by the way, I double checked. This is the 40mm launcher. We have our police shields. These are probably 30 some pounds, so these are a little bit heavier. The one that is hanging up on the wall is rifle rated. These are not rifle rated, these are just handgun rated. So these will not stop a rifle round. The heavier one will. If you want to pass this around, this is a camera ball where you throw it, through a window, into a door, and then obviously it has all these multiple camera angles. So no matter how it lands, we have a receiver where we can watch it. Also new to the department and the SWAT team are our drone unit. I believe we have two drones, I think. A smaller one, which we use mainly for the SWAT team. We just use it to go inside buildings, attics, anywhere you'd rather see a camera go first other than a human being. And we have a bunch of operators that are tasked out with operating the drone. And the same thing, the drone operator, it's like a video game. They control, by the hand, they see what the camera sees, and they control it from there. Then they can relay information back to us, where we should, where we shouldn't go, what needs to be checked or double checked.
How many times a year do you actually get called out?
That varies. I mean, it all depends. Some years we're only a part-time team,
Okay.
so we're not as busy as like the city of Buffalo. So it just depends on what happens in the environment.
Right.
Sometimes we're busy, sometimes we're not.
And
For a
would you
part-time
respond
town.
Would you respond to a school if it was?
Oh, definitely, yes.
Do you have to call off-duty officers also?
For call-outs, yes. If there'd be a call-out,
It's a very serious.
we have a paging system. We'd get paged out from home, and then we'd respond to the SWAT garage, which is in the back part of the property. And then from there, we would deploy to the scene.
You go to crowd control and all, right?
So, some of us, if you've been on the team or in the department long enough, we all went through a crowd control school years ago that was held by Buffalo. But in terms of the SWAT program, it doesn't always make sense to have your SWAT operators being crowd control. Because if they're doing crowd control and you need a SWAT operator, they're busy doing one thing. But some of us are trained, and we do have the gear for it. We have the shin pads, elbow pads, helmets, all that stuff.
That ball, does it have a remote control where you get operated?
This one does not.
Okay.
So that's just a throw ball.
Okay.
You would just throw it somewhere.
Yeah, Coca Road.
I mean, so what we have done is tie cordage to it.
Okay.
So if we overthrow it, we can kind of pull it back. And as you saw, there's so many cameras on it.
Okay.
You'll pick up something.
Okay.
We do have an older robot, but now with the drone's, you know, top-notch technology right now. So that's pretty much everything we use. The drone, you know, will fly through, see where we need to go, and go from there. Other tools we have, this whole back wall is all our breaching tools. We have multiple rams. It's probably 40 pounds, 35 pounds, it's pretty heavy. Obviously use this to breach doors, windows, anything like that. We have 2 big ones, 1 small one. We have the Halligan tool, also used to breach doors and windows as well. We have, again, a mirror. Check under vehicles, around corners, up above us, so you don't have to stick your head where a threat may be first. But again, the drone kind of will go through first and use that camera first. That's pretty much it. On our person,
What's your basic rifle? AR-15?
Basic rifle is the, yep, it's the AR-15. It is unloaded. We have suppressors, got a nice light on it, got the red dot scope, glass full stock.
How heavy is that?
That,
Is that heavy?
not really. It's pretty light. So like then our person, we have our vest, we have our spare mags on our vest, our pistol mags. Right now we have the 40. We are transitioning to the 9mm, so soon we'll be carrying all that with us as well. Gas mask, like I stated, gloves. Each member of the team does have certain operations and tools, so they get tasked out with specialties. We have a hands guy, he carries a taser. So, any other questions? Just want to come on board and check up? Yes.
Do you have night vision stuff?
We do not have night. Well, so we do have 2 older night vision scopes, but we don't have the helmet mounted NVGs.
Do drones have thermal?
Yes. I know the one does. I'm not sure about both. I know the newest one does.
What does SWAT do when they're not doing SWAT stuff?
We're patrolmen. Patrolmen, detectives, lieutenants.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So, like I said, we're just a part-time team. So, when we're not doing that, we're just normal detectives and lieutenants and supervisors and patrolmen.
So then they have the extra training for them to do that?
Correct.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
That ball, that
Yes.
drone, whatever you call
Yep.
it. Does it really break a window? I mean, it's so light.
We wouldn't break a window with that. We would use one of the other tools to break a window, and then we would throw that through the window, or through like a doorway. That would not, yeah. We wouldn't want to throw that through a window, just with all the camera and the lenses. But we'd throw it through an open window. You want to go first? Oh, yes.
So what if do you give them a chance to talk like like what Officer Black Chief did that time? Like what do you call it? You send somebody in there.
Oh, so like on an actual call out?
Yeah.
There's a whole process that we go through. Like a standard call out takes a while. There's negotiations. There's other tactics we use. The very, very, very last thing is us actually doing something about it.
Okay.
We always try to talk to them coming out on their own. Start with you. Want to come through? Like I said, want to look at anything? You can touch what you want. Just ask me first.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep.
You have lights?
It does, but so the battery's not the best on this, so.
Oh, yeah. Because the GoPro's terrible with lighting. But I appreciate it, though. Very awesome.
Oh yeah.
So the first one's for tear gas, I guess.
Yes.
Tear gas.
I tell you, everything, like I said, it all adds up.
Oh, yeah. Imagine when it's done, you're that right. So like this.
You get used to it.
What do you use the equipment for, like the channel locks?
So, I mean, this is anything from locks, fences.
That's it.
I mean, just bolt cutters, so it can be whatever you want.
Universal.
That's right.
These are all used for, you know, windows, screens, doors, cages on the doors.
Okay.
Use these radios for what?
Those are just radios.
Just tactical.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, you got it all. That's great.
Just careful stepping down.
By the way.
Oh, you don't have to see it. Thank you.
JVC Power. Got to rock while you're on your way. That's
Right.
it. I'm a long-haired rocker, so you bet. Random equipment locker stuff. All the different vests. Definitely very important. Very, very important.
Oh my God, it's like super hot in here.
It is.
Say 18 people already?
About, yes. Like if we're going to training, everyone just kind of jumps in here. We do have the MRAP now, so some go in here, some go to the MRAP, and
Is
then
that bigger than this?
it's actually smaller,
Oh.
but it has, you know, room for a couple extra bodies, so we're not all crammed into here.
Okay.
But all the gear is stored on this.
Like a small bus.
It's an Amazon truck, just geared out a little different.
Right, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's all loaded.
Okay, well, how cool is that, man? So yeah, check out the Cheektowaga Watch and check out my babe. Keep it pointed that way, my dear.
Out of the way.
No, you're A-okay, sir. Excellent. All right, my dear. Very cool. Slot number 13, our lucky number. All right, very cool. You can set that down in the appropriate
It
direction.
does have weight to it. It's not as light as you say because you're.
We're used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like breathing, man. It's just. Yep. Okay, awesome. But hey, like I said, check out the Cheektowaga Watch. That's worth checking out. And support your local cops. Not all of them are bad. The 99% are pretty good. There's always going to be a meathead, even at the grocery store, even at the dentist office. Remember that, folks. So do your part. Be good. Be safe.